children of all ages, welcome in once again to the dungeon of their Doctors of Doom Fantasy Football and World Cup podcast, where I am your host, Alex the Shark Sparks, and joining me again this week, my fearless producer, the second week in a row. Give it up for Vinny Popsicle Santucci. Say hello to all the devils out there, Vin.
Oh, hello. I'll take a popsicle right now. It's like 120 degrees out today, it felt like. But look at that. Winning. I'm on a winning streak right now. 2-game. This is a 2-game win streak for the pod.
Yeah, two in a row and 2 weeks in a row. We're going strong.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to be here once again.
Yeah, happy to have you. Totally not because other guys couldn't make it. You were my first choice. No, I'm just joshing. I know I told people I'd be alternating, but we're working with everyone's schedule. Everyone's schedule is different, so we're just going to try to do our best to make it work each week. And we don't know who we'll get. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll even get a podcast without me on it. We almost had one time with Chris and Mitch, but it fell through. So you never know. You never know what you're going to get. So stick around, and hope you enjoy it. All right. Well, Vinny, if it's all right with you, I guess we'll wrap up the World Cup first, and then we can talk about other stuff we want. How about that?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right, so you and I spoke last week, and I think after we spoke, there were only the finals left, right? Because semifinals
Yeah.
already happened. Yeah, we'd already made a pie bet, so...
We hadn't done the third place.
Third place
Although
in the finals. So which game would you like to talk about first?
I think this is going to be interesting because you and I have very different opinions on these games. So let's start with your favorite, the third place game.
Yeah, third place game. If you didn't watch it, you missed out on the match of the tournament. England versus France. It was a tale of two halves. In the first half, I will say in third place games, generally speaking, stars don't play. That they just don't. Both teams benched the majority of their starters to let other guys get a chance to play. Mbappe was a glaring exception. He did play because he did have something to play for. He, one goal, almost locked up Golden Boot. He was tied with Messi, but Messi had more assists. Spain hadn't conceded only a single goal the entire tournament, so realistically, one goal probably gets it for Mbappe. So he decided to play, and I like that attitude. Honestly, I like going for it. But anyway, England came out, lights out, and takes a 4-0 lead in the first half, just absolutely drubbing France. And this is the last game as coach for France's coach. He told everyone today. Deschamps said, the World Cup's going to be his last time at the helm. So, kind of getting embarrassed. And I don't know what speech he gave at halftime, but they came out in the second half, subbed in 4 of their starters, including some big hitters like Dembele, and went to work. And then it was a completely opposite where England was under fire. France quickly caught back up, making it 4-3, and then some kind of stuff happened towards the end. Ended up being 6-4 England, as England ended up putting Jude Bellingham, their best player, back in. So it was a chess match in reverse almost, Vinny, because it's okay, who's going to put more good players in? But it was super entertaining for sure. What about you? What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a soccer game that ends 6-4 and there's actually like star players out there, that's fun. But that's also the same thing that I would say about the NBA All-Star game or the NFL Pro Bowl. Like, it's fun to watch teams score points, but nobody was playing defense. It wasn't a normal match. So I don't know. To me, yes, it was exciting, but you didn't know who scored England's first 4 goals. Right? I mean, come on. We're not kidding ourselves, right? That when we look at who scored, that you're like, oh yeah, those are the 4 stars of English soccer.
You telling me that Saka's hat trick, the guy who didn't even get to play in the semis, was not legitimate?
I mean, Saka is a great player, right? But it's not like he was starting. He was coming off the bench. So listen, obviously we were wrong. I do want to set the record. We were definitely wrong about the odds for Mbappe because it looked like nobody really expected him to score, and sure enough, he ended up scoring. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not a fun game to watch. To me, I just didn't care. It was kind of like, okay, cool, you scored 4 goals in the first half. If anything, you would just be like, yeah, for sure, France doesn't belong in this game, like doesn't belong in the finals after that showing. So, I mean, Declan Rice, Konza, Saka, you know, yeah, I don't know. You and I feel differently about it. It's a game that nobody really seemed to care about. It's fun for the fans, but to me, it was just an NBA All-Star game.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but unlike the NBA All Star game, there were people out there playing. Like the the French defense didn't play well, but England's defense played fine. Like until France had to turn it on, right? Like it wasn't like defense wasn't allowed; they just weren't playing it well. And I think that's the difference, right? Like France was so caught up in trying to score, and because they didn't have their normal center backs that play together out there, that they were more vulnerable to these fast breaks from players like Saka. But it wasn't because they weren't trying to play defense; they just weren't playing it well, which made it more entertaining. Because what you're saying with the All Star game situation, yeah, that All Star games can kind of blow because like only half the team is playing at a time. But like if you watch like for example the goal that ended at Jude Bellingham's goal for England, he gets the ball and makes a great run and then dribbles past 4 guys before he shoots and scores. It was an amazing goal. That wasn't because France was letting him score and not playing defense. That was because he was just super skilled with what he did. And maybe their defense was a little subpar, but it didn't take away from how much skill he showed in that goal. That was so amazing to watch. It's not the same as, oh, a guy just drove the length of the court and dunked it when no one guarded him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do understand what you're saying. But yeah, uh,
Also, fun fact about Saka, he's only ever had 2 hat tricks in his career. Both of them are for England. None for his
oh,
club, but twice for his country, so good for him.
interesting. Now, I will say, like, the people that ended up scoring got goals from Saka, Dembele. I mean, you can say Bellingham, Declan Rice. Like, those are all starters, are all stars. Um, it just, again, anytime, and unless it's one of those like classic 5-4, 4-3, everything on the line. It was just hard watching England come out 4-0 in the first half, and then France decides to turn it on. Um, yeah, but this again, it was fun for the goals scored. Everybody's saying it was the best match in the World Cup history, or it was the most fun they've ever had watching a match. I'm like, so you don't like high quality soccer, you just like goals to be scored.
See that's where see. I think good offense is high quality soccer. I think that is high quality soccer. I don't think this game was any less quality. Like, would this game have been different had both teams played their starters from the beginning? Yes, but I think it still would have been 3-2, 4-3. I think it would have gone the other way. I think France would have won, but I still think there would have been a decent number of goals in that game because both teams are high powered on offense, and France specifically isn't as great on defense. Like, I think people are kind of caught up in like how good Spain's defense was throughout the tournament. But like, if you look at like the broader picture of some of these games, like some of these teams, they concede a lot, but they also score a lot. Like, look at England's match: 2-1, 3-2, 2-1, 2-1. Like, there's goals on both sides in all of their matches. Same, other than the Paraguay game, I think France is going to be similar, where they 3-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-0, like multiple games. Like, that's what they played.
They even both started backup goalkeepers. So
No,
like,
France didn't. France played their starter, but yes, England did play a backup goalkeeper.
yeah, England. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. England started their backup goalkeeper, and still somehow won um, against the likes of France. I don't know. Listen, fun game. I don't want to like bash it too much and just continue to say the same thing. A fun game. Just to me, there's just, in my opinion, and I know we might disagree on this. Like, if they did play in the finals, I don't think it's this game. So to me, that just tells me it was more gimmicky than real. Maybe it's 3-2, maybe you get a 4-3 classic, but I guarantee you that the in order to do that, the quality of goals and the quality of defense would have had to been way up. And I know you say like a high powered offense does make it a good performance. But soccer is a very rare sport in which it's 100% simultaneously offense and defense. Kind of similar to basketball, but I think possession is much harder to keep in soccer. So
Right, but I guess the point that I'm trying to make is like it's good because both teams are doing it. Like I would agree. Look, when Germany beat Brazil 7-1, that was super entertaining as long as you were for Germany. If you were not for Germany, that was like it was interesting, and like, but it kind of sucked as a semifinal in a World Cup that it was a complete blowout, right? Like it was a good
yeah,
story, but like if you were not even if you're for Brazil, but like if you just wanted to see a good game because you didn't care about who won, like that probably wasn't what you wanted to see. I went into that match rooting for Germany, so I was stoked about it. But I can totally see why you wouldn't feel that way. This game's the total opposite because, like, if you watch this as an England fan, you were stoked in the first half. As a French fan, you're stoked for most of the second half. And as a casual fan, you're like, this game is amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't disagree that people are going to enjoy that game. And like I said, I fully recognize that I'm in the minority here. Everything I read is hilarious. Like, I mean, here ESPN's commentary, first line, that will go down as one of the best World Cup games of all time.
It was just
Literally what it says.
it was genuinely that fun to watch. Like I made the joke that there were more goals than fouls. There weren't. There were 22 fouls and 10 goals, but like that's such a good rate. 22 fouls and 10 goals, like that's so good to have that much action. It's just so entertaining to watch. And
Yeah,
I think this goes back to the you don't like my rule, but like if you made it where they can't use their hands, they can't foul as much. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, completely understand. Wonder how one of our listeners, Miles, felt about a game that had 6 goals, 10 goals. Yeah, he was a big fan of that 0-0-0 shots, Argentina England first half last week. So but yeah, no. Hey, listen, hats off to England for finishing third.
Yeah, congrats to them for sure.
And France finishing fourth, like everybody predicted. So, so yeah, I mean, and then I think I'm also in the minority for the World Cup final match as well.
Yeah, so let's go to the World Cup final match. Also a barn burner, 1-0.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start on this one because
Please
this
do.
is where this is where
Also,
I
46 fouls, by the way. So this one, 46 fouls, 1 goal. The game I like, 22 fouls, 10 goals. You guys take your pick. Which one you enjoy more?
so yeah, this is again where I knew from the get go you and I were gonna staunchly disagree on these games. I also am in the minority here. I've heard a lot of people talk about how boring this game was. I kind of went into it maybe rooting a little bit more for Spain than Argentina just because I thought they were the better team. And really the only person I care about on Argentina is Messi. So to me, it was actually exciting to watch because it was just a master class of soccer by Spain. Like you could not. I know it was 1-0 and the goal was in the 106th minute, but if you watch that match, it was just pure domination. Martinez just happened to have what did he have like 12 saves? Was it a new record? I can't remember. Um, I do know that I can't remember how many saves did he end up having. Let's see here. What am I missing? Oh, clicked the wrong button. That's what it was. 11 saves. Yeah, 11 saves. Spain's goalie. Do you know how many saves Spain's goalie had, Alex?
Uh, yeah, I do actually. He did not play in this game. He had
Yeah,
zero
zero.
saves.
Zero shots on goal. Versus the 12 shots on goal with 11 saves on the other end. You know, even if you just look at the expected goals, like I know you say, oh, it was a 1-0 barn burner, like 2.3. We talked about this, was it last week, where it's like very rarely is the expected goals higher than the actual goals. And it was one of those situations again, like Spain just completely dominated. I mean, 763 passes is insane. Double the passes. At a certain point, Messi hadn't even had like a touch in the second half, or like more than like two consecutive touches. And so, just to me, it was again just a masterclass in soccer. It was soccer played at its highest level at a national level in a finals by obviously the best team in the tournament in Spain. I mean, I didn't realize I was rooting for Spain until like you get into the game and you don't really care who wins and you're like, wow, Spain is just a superior team. And to me, that was fun to watch. It was fun to watch how good Spain actually was in a final against, you know, we could talk about the path to the finals all day long against technically the second best team in the tournament. We don't have to argue that because I think we might disagree, but um, yeah, I don't know. I would have rather watched this 1-0 boring game compared to everybody that says it versus the 6-4 slobber knocker that was France England.
I mean, this game was just so boring to watch. Like one team was playing, right? Especially after that red card happened, it was just one team playing. Like
Yeah, I mean, one
I'm not
one
I'm not
team was
taking
playing the
I'm
whole
not
time.
taking anything away from Spain. Like people get like I think that's like where like some people get confused. I'm not saying that Spain didn't deserve to win. I'm not saying they weren't the best team. I'm not saying it wasn't a great team game. I'm just saying it's not fun to watch. Like it doesn't put butts in seats. The team that put butts in the seats for this match was Argentina.
Yeah, no, I think yeah, they had for sure had the majority of fans in that stadium. I agree. I think, when all is said and done, we probably would have rather seen Spain England or a rematch of Spain France in the final versus what we got. But there's no arguing that Spain was the best team in this tournament. Just drubbing France 2-0, and we looked at the stats like they were clearly the superior team, even though it's a boring product. Um, and then same here with Argentina. I mean, they just absolutely drubbed Argentina. They absolutely dominated the number one and number two team in the country back to back. Well, the number one team and the team that was expected to win back to back games, which is just to me incredible. The only way I can put this, Alex, is if would you rather watch a game that was kind of close where one team was dominating the game, but somehow the other team kept it close through whatever reason. Maybe let's just call it defense in the NFL in the Super Bowl. And you're like, wow, okay, this is somewhat of a low scoring game, but at least it's like one team clearly looks good, but somehow this game is so close. Or would you rather watch the teams that lost in the conference finals playing for absolutely nothing, win a game 56-42?
Wait,
I,
sorry.
I want
Say that
I
again.
want to
Say that again.
I'm just saying like I want to watch the game that means more, even if it's more boring. Like I'm just saying like would you rather watch a low scoring game where one team was dominating in the Super Bowl, but then somehow the other team was still in it all the way up until the end, or would you rather watch the two teams who lost in the conference finals playing for absolutely nothing, but then it's 56-42? I just don't think you get a genuine product when it's a 56-42 NFL game for teams that aren't playing for anything. So I think that is my bias towards this game. Like it was just great to watch Spain win. If Spain played as poorly as Argentina did, I would be so pissed. I'd be like, this was the worst soccer game I've ever watched in my entire life. Because it was that close. It was close to being like, if Spain wasn't so dominant. I mean, look at what do you call this thing? The momentum chart. Wild. There is not a shred of blue until the second half of extra time. Um, just goes to show how dominant it is. I think if you scroll, let's see which way, up just a little bit.
Oh, you don't what? Where Argentina after the goal started to have to like go all in.
Yeah, just like there's like what, maybe there in the 20th minute, a dip of like some blue. There's like these small little crumbles below the line, but overall, oh, I guess where the yellow and red card, there's some hiding. But yeah, um, if this was as boring as the beginning of, the England Argentina first half, I think nobody really had any shots. So that was, at least Spain was pressuring. To me, that was exciting, but I get it if you didn't like it.
Yeah, I I think what having to play desperate at the end doesn't mean that they were holding back the whole game. Like, sure, after they got the red card, absolutely they were trying to play for penalties. I get that, and that's what you're supposed to do after you get a red card. But I don't think this dominance here was because Argentina was deciding to not try and play for penalties in the first, before extra time. That was just Spain was the better team. Then Spain went into park the bus defense mode, and Argentina went into we have to put everyone forward, even though it leaves us vulnerable at the back, to try to get a goal. And they almost got that late game heroics, which would have been interesting to see from a storyline standpoint, I guess, to get to penalties. But let's talk about the red card that I mentioned here. Enzo Fernandez, what are you doing, man? So for those who didn't see it, this wasn't a horrible play where he got a red card. No. This was a guy who was on a yellow card, then commit a terrible, senseless, automatic yellow card type foul where he just straight up kicks the guy in the shin for no reason and gets a second yellow, turns into red, he's out of the game. In the World Cup final. Like, what are you thinking? And this was on, like, the Spain half of the field when the guys, like, it's not like the guy's on a fast break about to score. Like, this was not a necessary. You didn't need to make this foul at all. And he did it in a way that guaranteed his team be down a man the rest of the match.
Yeah, listen, and I think Kuvarsi made that look 1,000 times worse of a foul than it actually was. It was a foul all day long, and it was a yellow all day long. Why Enzo Fernandez thought already being on a yellow he could go in on a reckless challenge like that, I have no clue. Yeah, it was pretty dumb. It was I agree. The red card was warranted. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was terrible. I thought Spain actually was going to score more goals in that extra time after that, but they did pressure the goal pretty hard in that first period of extra time. So, yeah, the more I think about it, I do completely understand why people thought this game sucked. Like, Argentina didn't even show up. There's a red card. The team that wins was 11-10. Again, my entire opinion is just how well Spain played. And to be honest, I didn't get much of a chance to watch Spain play throughout this tournament, just with the schedule and then my availability to watch the games, or matches, excuse me, to the purists. So it was even more fun for me to watch Spain in the last couple of weeks and watch them dominate France and then turn around and dominate Argentina.
I just, I don't know. I feel like, we kind of talked about, I don't know if this was on the pod, but it's like, I feel like if the U.S. hadn't got waxed by Belgium, I feel like a 1-0 loss to Spain where we get 0% of the possession would still look better than the 4-1 drubbing we took at the hands of Belgium.
Yeah. What do you? Yeah, dude. If the U.S. played the same quality of soccer that they played against Belgium against Spain, what do you think the score is?
Spain maybe scores twice because they're just not a scoring team. But it is embarrassing the amount of possession. But I think it was in our chat where Mitch said we touched the ball 3 times, and I joked that it'd be 4 because we get to kick off once.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, look, yeah. At the end of the day, Spain came into this tournament as the odds-on favorite. They came in as the European champions, and them being tied 0-0 by Cape Verde was not a knock on Spain. That's just a tip of the cap to Cape Verde, how good they were, I guess. Because Spain got the job done. They beat France in the real final, and then beat Argentina as well. So they took it down. They deserve it. I think, like I said last time, is they don't have stars. Like their biggest star, Lamine Yamal, didn't really do anything this tournament. Let me take that back. He didn't score goals this tournament. And in a tournament where there were so many big-name players scoring 5, 6, 7 goals, when your star player doesn't have that, it kind of loses some luster. He still played well. The team played well. And the star of the Spanish team is the team. And I think that's hard for people to kind of grasp. Like, this is a game where they used all 5 of their subs, and everyone that came in was still viable.
Yeah.
Excuse me, all 6
Yeah.
of their subs because they got an extra one. So
No, yeah. I mean, obviously their captain Rodri is just so good watching him play, kind of in midfield.
right, they talk
But
about
yeah,
when they took him out. It's like they're taking out the best defensive midfielder in the world and replacing him with the second best defensive midfielder in the world, the guy who hadn't got the play all tournament.
No, and I think that's in the whole thing, like you said, it's just wild to think like Nico Williams came in and completely changed the trajectory of that game just with his speed down the flank, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, you're gonna take out Oyarzabal and then Ruiz and then Danny Olmo. Oh wait, you're replacing them with Pedri, Marino, and then Torres. The guy who scored the
and
goal.
And then Nico Williams, who historically has been one of their better players, but he was hurt all tournament and didn't play.
Yeah, and then comes in and actually, really kind of sets an even bigger spark
he almost had the winning goal.
Yeah,
that header. Yeah.
It like you said, to me, it's kind of like England being able to bring Saka on off the bench, but there's not a whole lot of teams in this tournament. What Spain was able to bring off the bench is just disgusting. It really is. Like you're taking off the starters for the semifinals, and then you bring in these guys who, I mean, if you watch, like, obviously Nico Williams, Marino, Pedri, Torres, like, they were very large contributors to the reason that they scored the goal. And I know like they're all up front when they were subbed in, but it was a different product after the 60th minute, 75th minute when they made these substitutions. And it's like you said, take off the best center defensive midfielder in the world for the second best center defensive midfielder.
But at the end of the day, overall, it was a fun tournament. We got a lot of extra games out of it because of the new format, which, whether you like it or not, doesn't really matter because it's here to stay. They're already talking about expanding it to 64. So, the more games, the merrier, I suppose. I really, my big takeaway from this tournament overall, so just overall takeaway coming up here, I hate what they did to the group stage. I think they watered it down, especially the way they changed tiebreakers. I think they really took a lot of the luster out of the group stage. However, I can't complain about getting to see more knockout stage matches. There were some bangers, which, quite frankly, I'm gonna tip my cap to England. I think they were in all the best games of the tournament. The England-Congo game was great that they came back to win. The England-Mexico game was probably the game of the tournament for real. The England-Norway game was great, although there was some controversy. England-Argentina was a little heartbreaking if you were for England, but it was still entertaining. And then obviously France-England was just an absolute banger. So every knockout stage match that England played was super fun to watch, regardless of whether or not you're an England fan.
No, I agree. The England-Mexico game was a ton of fun to watch. The England-Argentina, they actually were all great to watch. I agree. We talked about, I wish the Norway-England game kind of turned out a little differently, but one final thought, because I just remembered in the finals. Did you see the highlights of, like, they kind of did like a zoom out highlight of Spain's goal, and how the one guy that they all kind of talk about as being like a legacy, Simeone, he was behind the play, like at the top of the box, fixing his socks, while Torres went and received the game-winning goal. It's quite fascinating. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend typing Simeone, like, Spain goal. He's kind of like marking Torres and then just stops at the top of the box to fix his socks while Torres runs in and scores a goal. So,
what game was that in?
The final. The goal, the 1-0 goal, the Spain-Argentina match.
No, I didn't see the player fixing his socks at the top of the box. I did not see that.
No, yeah, it's I've been reading a lot on it. I don't know if they will have the one goal highlight on here, although
no, I'll get copyright stricken if I try that.
Yeah.
So.
You get copyright stricken, but I do highly recommend just like typing in like Simeone, Spain goal and see what comes up, because I was kind of seeing it all over social media, and Argentinian fans were just drubbing the dude. So yeah, fun fact about there's also conspiracies that the match was fixed. So That's also a fun rabbit hole that you can go down. I guess Messi had like kind of a weird pregame speech, but he's also kind of a weird orator, anyways. So I'm not sure how true that actually is. But yeah, no. I going back. I guess my sum of the tournament would be PKs suck. I think the group stage was kind of cool because there's more teams and like these lower teams got in. I still don't love the whole idea of constant expansion across all sports. Um, especially if they're going to consider expanding even further. I like some of the new rules. I like the new throw-in rule. I like the new injury rule where the guy has to come off. VAR was absolute trash. The way that they're able to implement VAR now and kind of go back in time. There's actually a whole lot of other chatter. If you watch the Argentina Egypt foul that led to taking the goal off of Egypt, it's just like an inadvertent step on the foot. And that's actually exactly what Messi does to Spence in the English match right before he scores the right before the game-winning goal. So he inadvertently steps on Spence's foot. I don't know if you remember this, like where like all of a sudden Spence is hobbling.
Yes, yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
so it's actually Messi inadvertently steps on Spence's foot and ankle. That's why he's hobbling, then gets the ball back, scores a goal. But VAR won't take that off, but VAR will take Egypt's goal off. So I don't know. I think the overall equity and fairness of the tournament in the most corrupt organization in the world, which is FIFA, shouldn't be surprising, but somewhat still remains surprising. So that's my summary recap. So if you didn't watch the World Cup, obviously I come at it from a very negative lens. Despite the fact that listen, I think the World Cup is the best sporting event in the world, and I'm not even a soccer fan. So don't take all that negativity and think that I don't care for the World Cup. I think it's phenomenal. Even with all this BS or drama, it's still the best sporting event in the world.
I mean, you got to have some drama, right? It makes it newsworthy, right? Without the drama, it's not newsworthy. I mean, speaking of drama, if you guys didn't watch this game, talk about being the epitome of sore losers. Let's talk about Argentina for a minute. As soon as this game is over, Argentina just tries to brawl with Spain. Like, Paredes just goes and clocks one of the Spanish bench players who's running out on the field to celebrate. Just absolute child move. Also, I don't know if you know this because I don't think they showed it on TV. Did you know what Argentina did when Spain was getting their gold medals?
No, actually.
The entire Argentinian team turned their back to the podium so that their
Really?
backs were to Spain as they were getting their gold medals.
Yeah, listen, yeah, there's just something about the South American teams, and I'm gonna clump Mexico into that. Sometimes it's really hard to root for them when they're just so petty and whiny, and it's just like this is one of those. Like every foul, I mean, I know it happens, but sometimes you watch these teams and it's like I know people argue the fouls, but it's that extra dramatization and complaining that happens sometimes. Like Argentina did it, Mexico did it, and then to pull some bush league stuff like that. Yeah,
Well, and
I don't know.
it's like look at this chart. Like you didn't get cheesed. Like it wasn't like they got you with a cheap shot to beat you. Like they dominated you the entire game. You just got beat. They were better. That's all there was to it. Argentina lost this game because Spain was the superior team. So for them to act so childish about it is just really, yeah, it's just sore loser mentality. Like, look, I understand that you don't want to have to look. We all saw what was it 4 years ago when Mbappe had to go up on stage with Argentina to get the Golden Boot trophy because he won the Golden Boot even though he lost in the final. He had just lost in the final and he's having to stand up on stage with the team that won, but he still stood next to them. Yeah, he was sad, but he didn't turn his back on them. He didn't grab his trophy and walk off the stage. He just stood there like a professional with sportsmanship and like, yeah, he was sad, but he wasn't a douche about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. And yeah, like here's some more. things that we could talk about. 763 passes completed to 357. 32 touches in the opposition box versus 8 for Argentina. 9 attempts on goal inside the box versus 1 for Argentina. What else do we have? 5 accurate crosses versus 1 accurate cross for Argentina.
Well,
Okay,
and I mean,
total forwards 500, and you can talk about how Spain plays back, right? Everybody always talks about, oh, Spain kind of just plays and sits back. They had 365 passes in their own zone. Argentina had 357 total, complete actual passes, right? 515 passes in the attacking zone to Argentina's 198. So they had more passes in the back zone than Argentina had accurate passes combined. But then that doesn't even include the forward zone passes, which just absolutely blows Argentina out of the water. Almost, a little less than triple passes in the forward zone. So just like you said, yeah, Argentina has no right to be turning their back on it. This was not taken from them, unless the conspiracy theories are true and something actually was taken from them.
Yeah, I mean, they had 0 shots on goal, Vinny. They attempted 2 shots, 1 was blocked, 1 missed the goal. Like that, you're never going to win a game like that. I don't care who you play. If that's what you put up against Curacao, you wouldn't have won.
Right.
I'm not saying you would have lost, but you wouldn't have won.
No, 100%. And like you said, I mean, Argentina came in. What was it? They were the 3rd highest scoring team in the tournament, right? Something crazy like that. And you don't even get a single shot on goal.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it last week in the pod that it was impressive that even though we could argue that Argentina shouldn't be there and VAR helped them and a couple calls went their way that helped them, Egypt still had a 2-0 lead and somehow allowed 3 goals in like 15 minutes of match time, right? Argentina still had to go out and win that match, by scoring those goals. But to not even get a little bit of a turn on, like at any point on that, like it was weird to watch how bad Argentina was at attacking Spain.
Yeah, you can't win games like this, and like you said, Argentina was Spain was just the superior team, and like it's funny that Unai Simon, the goaltender for Spain, he's gonna get credit for the most clean sheets in a World Cup ever, and it's like, yeah, but like I could have had a clean sheet in this game,
Yeah,
like legit. I need someone else to take the goal kicks, but that's about it. The goal kick. I think there was maybe 1.
Yeah, that's even more impressive to think about. How many goal kicks did they? Yeah, did he never have the ball in his hands at any point? Was there like a header back to the goalie? Like, did he? How many touches with his hands did he have? He had maybe a couple like long through balls that went a little too far, huh? And he did early in the game. I think he beat Messi to that ball outside the box. But yeah, I hadn't actually thought about that. Like, how many times did he, besides intentional foot passes back to him? I wish I could see how many touches he had.
We might be able to hold on. Unai Simon, none. He had no touches.
What do you think BCC stands for?
That's a good question.
Yeah, 3. Is it 3 clearance?
Hold on.
3.
He won 3 duels, whatever the heck that means.
But his is different. It says KS.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. I don't know.
We're gonna have to find a legend on this one.
Yeah.
If you hover over the initials, here we go.
Keeper sweepers. So yeah, basically like he kicked the ball 3 times. Is what we're getting at.
Okay. CC. What is CC?
Crosses claimed. So he crossed the ball once.
Oh, so he caught 1 cross. And KS, you already said keeper sweeper. What was the other one?
Clearances. Yeah. So yeah, basically
he touched the ball 7 times.
3-4 times this game.
He only touched the ball with his hands once.
And I want to point out, Vinny, this is a game that went for 120 minutes because they went to extra time. So My man averaged one touch every like 15 minutes.
Dude, that's like playing outfield while like your pitcher throws a no-hitter and you just have to keep going and standing out there. It's the most boring thing in the world. Uh,
Oh man, that's great.
that's actually I'm glad that we pulled that up. So he legitimately, aside from maybe some, no, because I wouldn't even imagine he had any headers from his defense back to him. So that cross caught, he touched the ball with his hands a single time. Unless maybe those keeper sweepers are also included. Whatever the heck a keeper sweeper is. So for listeners at home, please, if you know what to keep. Oh, here you go. Keeper sweeper meaning is an advanced monitor who acts as an 11th outfielder by pitches up high up on the pitch. They neutralize opponent through balls. Huh. All right. Interesting. So touches outside the box. Okay.
Cool. So yeah. So he technically played the game. That's what we're getting at. He technically played in the game. And for context, Emilio Martinez, look at his stats. So
Yeah, he was he was under attack constantly. The fact that he has less keeper sweepers, less clearances, and the same amount of crosses caught as a guy who never touched the ball just goes to show that Spain was just attacking him straight up front, nonstop. That's hilarious. Yeah, great World Cup. Spain deserved to win. I don't think there's any arguing that.
yeah. All right. Any other World Cup takes, Ben?
No, no. Just kind of sad that that's where we have to leave it. But yeah, I mean, Spain did have to go. Spain goes through Portugal, Belgium, France, Argentina. Argentina goes through Cape Verde, Egypt, Switzerland, England. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that Spain is the most deserving team. I think you could argue England, had they made it to the finals, also deserved to be there. Mexico, Norway would have beat Argentina.
And France, had they beaten Spain, I would argue.
Yeah, I think Morocco is obviously a solid team. But, I think Spain had the hardest path to get there and then ended up winning it, which is crazy. Yeah, that's it. On to no sports. Bueller?
I have a soccer trivia question for you.
10 goals, third place match. My answer. Locking it in.
So we're talking about Spain. So one of their prominent defenders for a long time was Sergio Ramos. You may be familiar with him.
Yes.
He has the record for the second most red cards of all time with 30. What do you think the
30?
record is?
What do I think the what is?
The record for most red cards.
Oh, he's second most, you
He's
said.
second most with 30.
With 30, he's also first most in fumbling the bag, considering he was married to Shakira. Let's go with, I don't know, because you're asking that, I feel like it's an astronomical number that I can't even consider. But I'm just going to say that he was still like 10 short, so let's go 40.
It's higher than that, actually. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
The record is from Gerardo Bedoya from Colombia with 46.
40.
So, for those listening to the pod, if you don't know who Sergio Ramos is, you probably don't understand this. Like, this is a guy who, like, he was always doing stupid stuff and getting himself in trouble. Like, every game I ever saw him play, he was getting a card or trying to argue his way out of a foul, like, and he had a douchey haircut. I never liked the guy. Played for a long time for Real Madrid, and Spanish national team, was on their team when they won the last World Cup they won back in 2010. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting trivia question. He is second most uh,
46.
with 30, and someone has 46. And a great joke was, yeah, and he only played 50 games. I don't think that's true, but yeah, this is a guy who he was scrappy. He was scrappy.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine being on the other team, just like constantly thinking you're about to take a high cleat to the knee? Bedoya's on the field. Like that's got to be so intimidating. That's like lining up across from like Ray Lewis if he just had the most personal fouls of all time. It's like that's like prime Vontez perfect. Just constantly getting targeting fouls across the middle of the field and you know ending people's careers. Um, but yeah, ironically or coincidentally, I guess I just literally earlier today saw a video of Sergio Ramos complaining about a yellow card that was his second yellow to a red, and then asked them to use VAR. And in the VAR review, they wave off the second yellow, and it's just a direct red because it was such an egregious tackle. So yes, that's the guy we're talking about. Come on, ref, not a yellow and direct red.
All right, that was my not World Cup. That was just kind of my soccer trivia question. But yeah, that's the World Cup, and now we have officially transitioned, Vinny, to the dead zone of summer, where we kind of have to find sports stuff to talk about until we get back around to football.
I mean, I do think
where
your
does it
fantasy is right around the corner. I feel like August is an appropriate time to start talking about fantasy football.
August
Gives us a little bit, gives
August
us a little bit of
13th.
lead in.
Sorry, go ahead.
Gives us a little lead in. Feel which offense Mitch is going to be drastically wrong or going to be 100% correct on, and then choose not to draft any of those players, and then claim all season that he was right. That's what I can't wait to hear. But yeah, no, dead zone of summer, the worst place to be in. The only thing keeping any of my interest is not just Major League Baseball as a whole. It is exclusively Shohei Ohtani. So always interested to see what he's going to do. And that's about it. That's really all I care about for the rest of the summer.
Yeah, I mean August 13th, Raiders and Cards kicking off the preseason, so we will get football here in what is that, 3.5 weeks ish. So it's coming, but real football still about a month and a half away. More like almost 2 months, but we'll get there. We'll get there. And in the meantime, if there's any breaking stories, we'll be the ones to bring it to you here on the pod. Anything else you want to talk about now that we've moved past the World Cup and aren't going to talk about soccer for another couple years?
No, I guess we do have college football coming up. Excited to watch that. There really isn't much. I will do our. Oh, speaking of which, we did not shout out our producer or our sponsors this week, but I will give them
I lost that bet and I've already paid it off. But yeah, you go ahead. You shout them out.
I will shout out our sponsors, Golshani Elite. If you ever need some legal help, they're the ones to call. I actually don't know what their slogan is. I actually don't even know who Golshani or Lee are.
I'm pretty sure you know who Lee is. He's been on the pod a few times.
No, but speaking of Lee, what I wanted to mention is a little shout out to him and our mutual shared affection for the beautiful game of golf. If you did not watch the last major of the year, which is called the Open, or also known as the British Open, which is incorrect, but it is still considered the British Open to us Americans. It was a phenomenal finish where a guy that you probably never heard of named Ryan Fox ended up winning. But what made it impressive is the guy took an absolute beating on some of the last few holes while also trailing, and somehow was able to kind of rally on those unlucky holes that he did have and unlucky breaks where he was kind of forced to play away from the hole. And rather than hang his head, went out and just started firing some birdies and actually birdied the very last hole to win, which was super impressive. So yeah, it was a great Sunday to watch where everybody was a guy who finished 3 hours ahead of everybody else placed the highest score, and nobody could seem to catch him the rest of the time until the very last hole. This guy Ryan Fox caught him, so it was pretty cool. And yeah, guy had every opportunity to just absolutely crumble under pressure and just never did, and went out and took it.
I guess you could say that he was as fast as a fox.
Yeah, you could say that. He definitely, actually, his playing speed out, you would appreciate it, because from the time that this Burns guy made his par putt on 18 to the time that Ryan Fox made his winning putt, there was a 22-second gap. That's it. That is like unheard of in golf. That means some guy, as soon as it was his turn, like, he hit it. It was kind of like how we would all play. Gripped it and ripped it. And he's like known for his fast play, and everybody really appreciates him for that. So,
also, if you want to be good at golf, live in an English-speaking country. That's what I'm getting from the takeaway from this this leaderboard.
Yeah, I would imagine there's
all the way up to Siwoo Kim before we get a non-native English country.
Yeah, and then we start kind of getting into more of these Finnish or Nordic, Switzerlands and Swedens, and Siwoo is it's also funny because he's a total bro. He's like the Chris Lee of South Korean golf.
Oh, so you do know the Lee of Gulshani Lee because you just named him.
Are those the same people?
Yeah, same guy. Same guy.
Oh, same guy. Oh, look at that. What a guy. Yeah, what a guy.
That's right. I apologize to all the listeners out there. You're going to get some golf talk over the next month and a half. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I know. That's kind of all.
It's no football, no basketball, no hockey, no soccer.
Here's a quiz for you, Alex.
Okay, go ahead.
I've got a pop question. You have two choices. Would you rather talk about baseball or golf during the next dead period of summer?
Oh, baseball for sure. Look,
baseball for sure.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. Baseball has problems, right? Like one of them being that you play 7,000 games in a season, and right now we're like just after the All-Star break, so like we're not at the early part of the season where everything's fresh and interesting, and we're not at the end part of the season where you're trying to see who makes the playoff runs. This is why it's like a boring time to talk about baseball. But like, baseball's still a sport. Golf to me is a leisure activity. And you guys have heard me argue before, but I'll make it again. If I went and played golf every single day for the next year, I could go out and be a par golfer. If I took batting practice every single day for the next year and then someone stepped up throwing it 100, I'm not touching that ball. It's just not happening. To me, that's where the difference lies.
Sorry, rookie move. Speaking of the Lee from Gulshani Lee, I cannot wait for him to hear that take to say you could go out and practice and play every day for a year and be a par golf. Because I know for a fact that this Christopher Lee, who I did not know was the same Lee in Gulshani Lee, our sponsors, shout out to Gulshani Lee.
You absolutely knew that, but go on.
That he does in fact play or practice every single day and is definitely not a par golfer, and has for the last few years.
But the thing is, what I'm saying is like he does not go play every single day. He, like, even right now, for example, he did not have a free hour to do a podcast with us because not only is he a successful lawyer, he is also teaching law school, and there were final exams that he had to go and proctor. Like, he doesn't have that kind of time. I'm saying I'm not saying like, oh, after my job. No, I'm saying like, if I were to be like, hey, I'm going to become a golfer now, I'm going to play golf every single day as my job, versus I'm going to go hit batting practice every single day as my job, the amount of skill gap that I could catch up to a professional golfer versus the amount of skill gap I can catch up to a professional baseball player, the golf is still going to be massive with professional baseball. It will not be as massive with golf. That is my argument. I'm not saying I'd be a pro. I'm not saying that, so please, I'm not disrespecting people who are pro golfers. What I'm saying is the skill gap between someone who does this activity on a regular basis and a pro is much closer than someone who does the activity on a regular basis and a pro in other sports, such as baseball. Case in point, man, golf, they literally have a guy who is paid to carry your clubs for you. They carry the club. When you see a hitter go up to the plate in baseball, he carries his own bat. Now, there's a bat boy whose job is to retrieve it after he gets on base, sure, because, he's running the bases. But it's not like he walks up to the batter's box and then someone walks a bat up to him while he's in the box.
But could you imagine if in baseball you also had to carry 13 bats on your back for 5 hours? That would not be easy.
Well, hey, another thing, you don't have to because there's golf carts. You literally drive them around.
No, I'm going to disagree.
You're gonna disagree that golf carts exist? You heard it on the pod here first.
I'm going to disagree with your original take. A regular PGA golfer, golf carts exist. Yes, I understand. Yeah, I understand. A regular PGA professional walks an average of 4.5 to 7 miles during a single 18-hole tournament. And you want them to do that with like a 50-pound bag on their back. What are they doing? They joining the military?
I mean,
shout out to our armed forces.
You need a driver, a 5-iron, a pitching wedge, and a putter. You need 4 clubs.
Okay, Tin Cup.
Great film.
I'm actually convinced the extent of your knowledge of golf is Tin Cup and Happy Gilmore. Can you disprove that?
I mean, I've played golf with you, so I feel like.
But beyond that, your knowledge of televised golf.
Televised golf? Let's see. There's probably some other golf movies I've seen. The Greatest Game.
Greatest Game, yeah.
Good movie. Legend of Bagger Vance. Classic.
Bagger Vance.
Classic.
Yeah.
Sure. No, but to answer your question seriously, Dr. John, my step-grandfather, he watched a lot of golf. Every time I went over to their house, pretty much, if it was a Thursday through a Sunday, which are the days golf is played, it was on TV. And if I wanted to visit with him, that's what would be on TV. And the last few years of his life, he couldn't hear. So I'd go to visit with him. He couldn't hear me. So I'd basically just be watching golf with him. So yes, I have watched golf, and it's boring as hell. But I watched it. So.
But you watched it. Okay, fair enough.
Also,
yeah, that's a good. I only laughed.
I play a mean round of putt-putt. I challenge anyone to goofy golf in Panama City Beach, Florida. Come at me, bro.
I will challenge you. We have to be there tomorrow, July 23rd. It'll be 100 degrees, 100% humidity.
I mean, you realize that I can get there by tomorrow. You can't, right?
I know.
I just want to point this out.
I just remember the last time we all did goofy golf in July. I don't think we actually finished 18 holes. I think we all finished with our shirts off.
Another great thing about goofy golf, they're open till midnight.
Wishing we brought water.
Yeah, they're open till midnight, so go at night. That is my recommendation.
Also calling hospitals and police stations looking for our missing member from Goofy Golf. It was a wild time. That's the last time I played Goofy Golf. Had a much better time when we picked our draft order in the blackout indoor putt-putt. Where ironically, the people that played for themselves lost, and the people that had an avatar in, what was it, Michael, Jimmy, and Spencer all finished like in the top 3, where all of us who actually played putt-putt did not.
Well, because we all knew the stakes, and they had nothing to lose. There was no pressure on Jimmy, Spencer, and Michael, because they had nothing to lose. They weren't playing for themselves. We had everything to lose.
It was probably the one time I've ever seen Smash and Pray work for 18 holes in a row. I think, unfortunately, knowing how to play putt-putt did all of us a disservice, because I watched them just hit the ball as hard as they can, and sometimes go in the hole, and oft times be right next to the hole.
It was such a janky course. I mean, for those who've ever played like putt-putt, mini golf, whatever you're going to call it, like, I'm not talking like, oh, there's a wacky hole with a windmill. Like, no, this putt-putt golf course was indoors on the second floor of a building. Like, it was just weird. And, like, it just balls bounced the wrong direction. I don't think things were up to code in that building, but it was fun, and I think we all just loved being in the AC because it was a hot day.
It was. Well, on that note, Alex, I have to run. But if you want to continue talking about golf, I can leave you here to talk about golf for as long as you like.
I think all of our listeners tuned out about 15 minutes ago, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate you guys being here. Next week, what will we talk about? I don't know. I have a couple of fun games, like sports related, obviously, depending on who is on the pod. So we'll see. We'll come up with something for you. But hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Vinny, say goodbye.
Adios, and here goes the bumper music. That's what it sounds like.